There's evidence of why Hembo was just a despicable human being. Michael Welbon schlepping himself all over the East Coast to be in our studio, and Hembo hits him with a trivia question. But at least he gave you your beloved Michael Jordan. Okay, he did. So here's the question. In the playoffs, which team did Michael average the most points against? So it's not total points. So it's not, you don't have to think about how many series they played, but average points, which opponents?
I'm tempted to just go with a sort of a trick answer, which is Boston, because you got a 62, and he only played 6 games against Boston in his playoff career.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that. Hembo is too sneaky for me. And then I'm thinking, okay, we got the Knicks playing this weekend. No, the Knicks battled him, even though he got the best of them all 4 times in the playoffs and threw them out. Chicago always loved that. I'm going to go, strangely enough, a lot of games against the Pacers, but they played him pretty well. Reggie played him well. He had back-to-back 50s against Cleveland. And that's going to inform I have no confidence in this, but I'm going to say the Cavaliers.
It's close. But that's why I was trying to give you it's just one series.
Oh, my God.
Finals against...
Because he had a 50 in that. Yeah.
He averaged 41 points against
Get out
in the finals.
Charles is going to call you
out.
No, Alan, I want you to do that. I want you to go throw Hembo out of the studio. Throw him out of the studio.
Let's go.
You don't do that to the legend.
Let's go.
That's it. It's an ejection. Let's go. This is cause for ejection.
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Get him out of here.
I can't help
Get him out of here. Get him out of here.
That is a disgrace. You don't do that to a legend.
Where's Cleveland in the mix?
Cleveland is right there at 37 points alongside the Bullets, the Sixers.
Celtics were.
The Celtics. All the teams he played a million
spot against the Celtics.
I mean, he's giving us a history lesson. He's going over all these memories, and Hembo hits him with an uppercut.
Single series.
It's a disgrace.
A
disgrace.
6 games.
Okay, you go back time. Let me do a green list here, and then I'll meet you back over there. That was disgraceful. Today's green list involves the top 5 clutch players left in the playoffs. Let me state for the record, usually these are based on my opinion. Today, we literally based it exclusively on the numbers, the number of clutch baskets made this season, including playoffs, by the players who are still alive in the playoffs. So at number 5 is Steph Curry. Now, we certainly hope we will see him again in these playoffs. He made 37 clutch shots this year. Remember, he scored 14 fourth-quarter points in Game 7 to eliminate the Rockets. So he has been enormous in clutch time. The Warriors really missed him last night. At number 4, Tyrese Halliburton, 39 clutch field goals this season, 10 of 11 on game-tying or go-ahead attempts inside the final 90 seconds. 10 of 11. Halliburton is clutch. Number 3 is Ant-Man. 52 clutch field goals this season against the Lakers. Remember, Minnesota finished Game 3 on a 13-1 run, finished Game 4 on a 5-0 run, Game 5 on a 16-8 run. Ant-Man is clutch. At number 2, it's the MVP, Nikola Jokic. 52 clutch field goals this season. He had 18 of his 42 points in the fourth quarter in the Game 1 win over OKC. So again, we're just counting the clutch buckets. Number 1, by a wide margin, is Jalen Brunson. 65 clutch field goals this season. And we gave you the stat. He has individually outscored the Celtics in clutch time in the 2 games of this series. So the context is there. These were the top 5 clutch bucket getters in the NBA this year. So you're asking, where does Jason Tatum go on this list? Tatum actually had quite a few clutch time buckets, but this is the number that jumps out at you. He has shot just 17% on 3-pointers in clutch time this season. That includes the playoffs. That ranks 65th out of 66 players who had enough attempts to qualify. So the real question then becomes, do we trust him to come around in the big moment? He did address it to his credit yesterday and took responsibility.
I take full ownership on the way that I've played in this series. And, you know, can't sugarcoat anything. I need to be better. We have a way that we play. We have an identity. It can't waver just because we missing shots. We can't change who we are. It's not about our season being 2 games from over. Like, that hasn't crossed any of our minds.
You know, you said last year, Wendy, and I've quoted it a million times, winning a championship means never having to say you're sorry. So with that as the context, what exactly is at stake for the struggling Jason Tatum right now?
Jason Tatum is a champion. He's a multi-time All-NBA, multi-time Olympic gold medalist, $300 million contract. He doesn't have to prove it. He also has many, many, many clutch baskets.
He does.
The reason they give it to him is because he is 6'10". He can create his own shot. That's why they give it to him. Going to him, even in a fadeaway situation, in a lot of situations, is what you want. That's your best option as a team. What is at stake for Tatum and the Celtics is this: their existence beyond this season. Because the one thing, and I didn't think that we were going to be talking about this till June or July. They have a $500 million payroll next year. They have new ownership coming in that is going to mortgage itself heavily to buy the team at $6 billion. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this roster. And if you win 2 championships in a row, even if you have that money, you go find loans to help you pay for that. If they don't win, if they get knocked out in the second round and they're looking at $500 million, I'm not sure this team comes back like this. Not that I think that Tatum or Jaylen Brown would go anywhere, but at some point this is going to break. That's what the Knicks are betting on. When the Knicks assembled this team, they didn't necessarily think they would win this year. They looked at their chance for the next 3 years. They got all their guys in their 20s. They're all signed.
We're going to wait out the Celtics breaking up.
That's what the Cavs are doing. The Cavs got all these guys in their 20s. They're signed.
So let's do that, because the Celtics are that rare franchise in sports, like the Yankees, like the Lakers, like a few others, where one championship doesn't resonate. You know, they expect there are greater expectations. So not to take anything away. Tatum's a terrific player. Sometimes the conversation around him bothers me, which is why I want to frame the question this way. What is at stake for him this weekend?
Place in the game. I mean, basketball, more than any other sport, values multiple championships. Is that fair? Probably not, but it is. I mean, ring counting it's a thing. It's a real thing, and it's increased. I don't remember it being this dramatic pre-Jordan, but it is now. And in Boston, where you go in and you look up at these things, and you know that Bird and McHale and Parrish and had 3, and you go back further, and people have 6 and 7, and Cousy and Heinsohn, and of course the great Bill Russell and Casey and Sam, and Cowens has 2. You have multiple rings are how people define even themselves now. Players have these conversations. We go out to dinner with guys. They will hold you to defining it that way. So if that's the case, all right, then Jason Tatum needs, Nikola Jokic needs enough. If we're going to start talking about Jokic and comparing him to Shaq, and okay, then he's got to have at least a second to get in the conversation, as great as he is. And so Tatum, I think, is bound by the same convention.
And what we're doing here is what we do in basketball is comparisons. Who has Jason Tatum ever been compared to when it comes to greatness levels and all that stuff? Like LeBron is always being held to the Michael Jordan standard, and Steph Curry then gets held to the LeBron standard. Like everybody seems to move there. Tatum has been one of the top 5 players in the league, or top 10 players in the league throughout the majority of the last 5-6 years. He's always in the MVP conversation, but it always feels like he's just not there. Like something is just not all the way there.
Hundreds of great games. He's played dozens of great playoff games. Jaylen Brown, Tatum, the voting for the MVP of the finals last year, it wasn't like Jaylen Brown won it 11-0.
Yeah.
It was like 7-4. I mean, Tatum, he didn't have a transcendent finals. He was very good. But Tatum his resume is impressive. It's just not perfect.
All right, First Take is coming up next, and I can feel, excuse me, something just went on my voice. So, Alan, read that, will you, please?
First Take coming up next. So the Warriors done. Plus, is Game 3 a must-win for the Knicks? What's at stake for Jason Tatum tomorrow? First Take, Stephen A., Wilbon, Windy, Fortenbaugh, and more. The top of the hour.